It's the Sean Widmer Podcast. It's a journal by someone that just really doesn't like to write.
Hello, let's podcast, shall we? Thank you for tuning in to the Sean Widmer Podcast, whether you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, whatever podcast service you use, or if you're watching on YouTube. We need the YouTube subscribers, people, to make the video feel worth it, for crying out loud. YouTube.com/Bommarooski. Run the Bommarooski. Appreciate the people who are on there. We'll get to the comments at the end of this. You can comment on Sean'sLife.com. If you're listening on Spotify, they have a Q&A section there. And, of course, on YouTube, we will get to those comments when it's all said and done. I closed my show notes, and I could just restart the recording, but you're witnessing live what happens when I start the podcast unprepared. Today on the podcast, I've got a potential murder. There's a murder in the works. We'll talk about that. Cool. Make a phone call to an old friend. And Kelly's What Are You Into is going to take us to our phones today with a question for you out there, nerds. All right, so like me, it's a nerd world that I live in. We tried to kill somebody. That seems a little dramatic, but it's true. We had a situation arise on Monday where we needed a babysitter in the afternoon. Well, the midday babysitter from a little bit, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock until 1 o'clock. And so found a babysitter, new gal, had never met her before. We're kind of testing the Lexington area for babysitters. And I knew she was going to be here over lunch, so I made lunch for the kids. And she had the kids in the morning, and then you put Huck to bed, and I was going to be back. And so I was all good. Made lunch for the kids, put it on the counter, and we're good to go. So we leave. We're off doing things, and my wife texts me and says, "We almost killed the babysitter." I go, "Excuse me, we almost killed the babysitter? How? What did Huck do?" She's allergic to peanuts, and I had made peanut butter sandwiches for the kids, and she opened up their little lunch boxes that I'd left out and texted Anna and said, "I can't touch these. What do you want me to do for lunch?" And I panic. And I get it, but we tried to kill a babysitter. I attempted to kill a babysitter, apparently, without knowing. If you are babysitting kids, you gotta make sure, number one thing is, hey, I have a peanut allergy. Because my kids live on this stuff. Breakfast, put it on their pancakes. Lunch, put it on their sandwiches. Dinner, just put it on their plate. Just a big old plop of peanut butter. We love it. But yeah, the babysitter we had, nicest girl, the nicest. My daughter loved her. Has talked about her the whole week. But allergic to peanut butter. And you show up to a little kid's house for lunch, and there we are. I got big old thick peanut butter sandwiches just waiting to kill a babysitter. She survived, I think, and so we're in the clear. Do not look for the Max special or HBO special on me anytime soon. Looks like we all got away with it this time. Man, that's the worst allergy. Peanut allergy is brutal. My nephew has it, and I always feel bad because he gets close to death every time he's around my daughter. Because my daughter eats so much peanut butter, it's oozing through her pores. She's half peanut butter, half sass, and then the other half human. Can we talk about the thing I need to make a phone call for here? I want to get into this, and I want to get into it sooner than later. I was talking to a guy here in town this week, and a very nice conversation about how life's going in Lexington. How's things going? Just a nice check-in, and talking about the kids, talking about my wife and her job, talking about me and getting into the job world here and all that stuff. And then it got into the house talk, and he asked me how we were liking the house. I was like, I love the house. I think he's a handy guy. I think he is someone who probably has done a lot of things in their house. And he goes, what are you looking at adding to the house? What would you want to add to the house? And I'm assuming in his brain now, looking back on it, he was thinking, okay, maybe we'll add some planter boxes in the backyard. Maybe we're looking at adding something to the bathroom. We're going to change out the vanity. Maybe we're going to tear down a wall. Something like that. And I gave the answer that I really at the moment believed. I said, if I could add something to my house, I would add a fountain machine. I would add, like you're at a gas station or a fast food place, just a good old fashioned fountain machine. That's what I want in my house. In fact, I've got 3 things that I would like in my house, the more I thought about this. And they're, again, not the answers he was looking for, but I'm not crafty like that. I'm also not, because I'm not handy like people who do home renovation stuff, because I'm not like that, my brain doesn't go to that world of, oh, we could actually replace an entire wall with something. Because I don't know how to do it, it doesn't exist. But I've seen a fountain machine, and I think, how cool would that be? The things I would like. I would love it if a professional chef came to my house and took all of the things out of my kitchen and threw them away, everything, and then replaced everything in my kitchen, knowing that I've got 2 kids, a third on the way, wife, me, we like having people over, knowing these things, knowing that we like to cook, set up my kitchen with pots and pans and silverware and plates or dishes and all that stuff, and what accessories, cool accessories we need. And I want to pay an exorbitant amount to have a professional chef come through and make my kitchen top tier with the best stuff to use for cooking. That's the second thing I would want. And the third thing I would want, I would love to make the room I'm in, the podcast dungeon, into a sick board game room with lights and a cool table, shelving behind me for games and all the little trinkets that I've got for games, and a cool, sweet table, a TV on the wall. I would love to make a room for board games, okay? So those are the 3 things that I would like to add to my house. Now, I wanted to make a phone call. I don't know if this guy's going to answer, but when this kind of stuff comes up, when this kind of question is asked to me, oh, look at this. When this kind of stuff is asked to me, I think of my old friend, Kevin James from GetYourDJ.com. I didn't tell him I'm calling. This call's from a fake number. Will he answer? There's no way he answers.
Hello?
Hey, Kevin, it's Sean. You're on the podcast. Hi.
I'm on the podcast?
Yeah, I had to ask you a question. I didn't ask for your permission. Are you allowed contractually? Are you allowed to do this?
I think I'm allowed to do, yes, anything I'd like.
This is, well, we'll if it's problem, I'm calling you as your GetYourDJ.com personality.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I can do anything with that.
Yeah, so this is for GetYourDJ.com. Okay, Kev, I was asked a question earlier this week, and the very first person I thought of with it was you, and so I wanted to ask you the same question because I answered.
That'd be good.
Yeah, well, I answered the question how I think you and I would answer it, and I think this guy was looking for more of how our buddy Max would answer it. This guy I was talking to was just catching up. He's like, how do you like Lexington? He got to how do you like your house, and he goes, what would you like to, if you could, what would you like to add to your house? So I ask you right now, what would you like to add to your house?
Oh, man. Well, I would say a yard. That's what I need right now.
Oh, wow. That's a real answer.
Well, my granddaughter and my son are living with me.
Okay.
And not having a yard for a 4-year-old, it's not fun. Now, I have a little bit of yard out in front of my place, and so we go out there a lot, but
oh, yeah.
I've seen your parenting. I've seen what you do. You basically, you've sent me a Marco Polo where you're sitting in the backyard drinking beer where your children are running, and one of them was down in like a little river or a creek or something, and you were like, they'll be fine.
And I think it was like 8 a.m. Because I think you were still on your way to work, and I was 4 beers in. You need a yard is great. Yeah. I told him that I wanted a fountain machine. And he looked at me like, because I think he wanted me to say, I would love to renovate our master bathroom. And that I don't know how to do that.
Machine.
So I thought, how cool, Kev, how cool would it be to have a fountain machine in your house?
Like soda.
Yeah, like soda pop.
Style?
Yes. Like you go up and, again, this is assuming you have a lot of money so that, someone goes, well, those break down easy. Well, if I have a fountain machine, I have a lot of money. No. And so I'm paying somebody to fix everything anyways.
Yeah, that answer is the correct answer. I took it way too literal of my actual situation as I looked around my house and there's toys everywhere. And I'm just like, God, I wish I had a yard.
No, but you have to. That's a good answer for where you're at right now.
Yeah. But, fun stuff? Oh, man. A fountain machine seems super awesome.
Yeah, it would be
really
cool.
That's a good one.
I also mentioned I would love it if I could have a professional chef come into my kitchen and throw everything that I have away and again, assuming I have all the money, they resupply my kitchen with what I would need to be a great at-home cook, also with dishes and plates and all that stuff, and just redo my entire kitchen with the accessories and dishware.
Wait, so they're just supplying it and then they're leaving?
Then they're leaving. I don't need them to stay and cook. I just need them to. But I
you
need
want
them
to still cook.
Yeah, and I want to make sure like my kitchen has what would be like the coolest stuff that a chef would say. You have a sick kitchen.
That is so funny because tonight I was just doing some dishes, and I was like, I'm so tired of washing this same pan, and it's worn out, and I need new pans.
Yeah.
But you know what? When you're a guy, you're a single guy, you know how long it takes before you go buy another pan? Even though I know I need them, and I want to go buy a set really bad, it's just, I don't know when it's going to happen. Maybe someday I'll just like click on the Walmart thing when I do my grocery delivery, and they'll just magically appear. But other than that, I don't see myself buying them, even though I really want them. So yeah, that would be awesome.
Because you can think of a million other things to spend that money on, and it's like, well, do I need the pan? You don't need the pan. Now, you know what will get you? If you ever randomly go to like TJ Maxx or Marshall's or a place like that, if you wander into one of those places, they'll weirdly have a pan in that little winding snake maze to get out of the store. And that will be the moment you're like, oh, $11.99? Yeah, sure, come on.
Yeah, TJ Maxx, where you're like, oh, well, those are a size 14 and I'm a size 12, but I'll take those shoes. And I'll take that Marshawn Lynch jersey.
Yep.
Because it's a 4X and it's in my size. And, oh, my God, a pan?
Oh, and a 4-pound bag of Swedish fish.
That is the weirdest store. How is that store still in existence?
Kev, I have no clue. It's crazy. And I don't know where they get their stuff from. Think about the person. You have to think about the person who's ordering things for TJ Maxx.
Yes.
That person needs to be on some kind of watch because their brain is not all the way correct to fill that store with those things.
Yeah. I believe it's like the CEO's child or something who's just punching stuff on it. Like, do your kids ever get your phone or your computer and put stuff in Amazon like they're going to buy it for you?
Oh, thank goodness no. But it would be, my daughter would know how to do it. My daughter knows how to work all that stuff. So the second she saw Amazon, she would find a way to find toys.
Yeah, that's well, at Christmas time I did that with Amelia I said, okay, you can look on here, you can shop, you can put all the stuff that you want like in the cart, but don't buy anything. And I almost screwed up and bought all of them one day when I was just going to buy I was getting, like gaffer's tape for my DJ business. And I was like, wait, why is that $300? Because all of her toys are in there. So I put them all on the little, wish list or whatever.
Yeah.
This just in, she only got one of them.
My wish for you. Look at that. You got me singing country music. Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
All right, KJ, before you go, I've got two quick things for you. Number one, if I ever get into I realized this just now. If I ever get in a situation where I've been kidnapped and I escape the captors, because this happens a lot, and I escape the captors and I make my way to a phone booth where I have to call collect, you're one of the only phone numbers I actually know from memory that's not a girlfriend from the early 2000s or the mid 2000s.
That's wild. Is that because you gave it out on the air so many times?
I think so. I think
why?
It shows how long I've known you, right? Because I've known you since the mid 2000s.
Right.
And so it was back in the day when you knew phone numbers. And I've called you so many times, I know it. I do not know my wife's phone number 100% of the time. I'm at about 85 to 90%. But if I'm in a situation where I'm at PetSmart and they go, can you please enter your phone number? And I'm in pressure situation, I never remember Anna's number in a pressure situation, which I'm assuming escaping kidnappers would be high pressure.
It seems like it would be, unless they were just really bad kidnappers.
Totally. But your number, I remember. Yeah. I remember your number and a very, very few others.
Yeah, that is weird. I used to, I mean, when I was a kid, I memorized the Harrington, Washington phone book just for fun, I guess. And it really is painful to me now that I don't know very many numbers. I'm with you.
It's so weird. I mean, we don't need to know them, right? We need to remember other things. And so it's kind of nice to not have to remember them. But it was really nice just now. I knew I needed to call you because I'd been thinking of you with this question this week, and I was going to ask it to you on Marco Polo, but I thought, no, I'm going to surprise Kevin, call him on the pod, and
that was wonderful.
I can just call him without needing my phone. I do not need my phone to call Kevin James. I can just call you.
That's wild. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think I have yours as well. It's the first three numbers that always give me trouble with yours.
509.
No, not those three. God.
Never going to lose. I'm never going to lose it.
Stupid.
I am so stupid. How it is nice to know that we're in a day and age where I get to keep my 509 phone number forever.
Isn't that great?
I've got to replace my Washington plates, and I'm dreading it. I'm pushing it off as long as possible because that's like me officially being gone from Washington, but I'll always get to keep my 509 number.
Which is super cool. I do that all the time where I have a lot of brides and grooms that I get their phone numbers to do weddings and all this stuff. And there's so many that are not 509s. And so it's always fun to Google it and go, oh, they're from such and such. Okay, that's kind of cool. It's just, yeah. So people in what is Kentucky's?
No clue.
Area code?
No clue. No,
you don't even know.
Kevin, I think it's 859. I think that's right. It's funny. All the numbers I've gotten, people will just send me a text. They go, okay, hey, you're in the moment standing next to someone, and they go, hey, let me get your number.
Sure.
And I tell it to them, and then they text me, and it says TJ or whatever, and I just immediately put their name in, and I've never even given their phone number more than a 2-second look. It's really weird.
Excluding any family members, who is currently in first place in the Kentucky Friends? Your Lexington brothers, whatever. I don't know. What are you called there?
My Lexington brethren?
The Lexington League of Men.
I think this guy, Rob, you would really like him. Rob. He's one of those guys who he's friends. Well, he's friends with everyone in Lexington. He's a sales guy.
Oh yeah,
and he's the nicest dude, but he's welcoming to everyone. I'm assuming that he goes home a lot to his wife and is like, "This guy sucks," but I'm nice to everyone, and so I'm gonna be nice to him because he's new here. But for now, he is my friend.
He's pretty awesome.
Are you smooching anyone these days?
No, man, smooch free. For this guy.
Man, I asked Dalton the same question. Well, no, that's not fair. I asked Dalton if he had smooched any coworkers I didn't know about, and he said no. Have you smooched any coworkers that I did not know about? Because we knew everything about each other. Wow. That's too long for that, buddy.
I mean, maybe one of the same ones you did. Long story. Let's not talk about it.
Wait, you think we smooched the same coworker?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know who it is now. Wow.
Doesn't count. It was
a dare.
It was like a dare.
Yeah. So is mine.
Yeah. And I'll never forget what his Mark Peterson's soft face felt like.
Oh wait, okay, so it wasn't Dennis Patchen. All right, so maybe we haven't kissed the same person. All right,
okay,
dude.
Maybe not.
GetYourDJ.com if you're since we want to cover all of our legal grounds. Kevin James, the radio's Kevin James. GetYourDJ.com. Go get your wedding book there. Go get remarried. And have Kevin DJ your remarriage. You do the second chance prom. You just had it. Do you ever consider doing a second chance marriage? Where you just have everyone get married again?
I've done it for 2 clients over the years where I've done not like a renew your wedding vows, but like it didn't work out the first time. And so then I did their second wedding. I've done that twice. This summer I do have a 20-year vow renewal where they're just like doing I think they're very wealthy, and I think they're just doing it for a reason to have an awesome party.
Yeah, see, this is
and so they're going to do the whole wedding, and it's kind of cool though.
This is the world Ryan's got into with video stuff, and I need you to get there with DJ stuff. And this is no No, it is. It's whatever. I'm not on the show anymore. I want you just to deal with rich people. I want you to just do weddings for the stars. That's it.
It's funny. I know a buddy of mine and I were just talking about we're the luxury DJs. But the only problem with some of that is, man, I don't know. I feel like they're a lot more work sometimes where the people are they want so much. But also with DJs, it's way harder to travel. Like Ryan gets to travel everywhere. He just takes his video gear and he's on the road. But traveling DJs, I guess you just have to rent stuff.
Yeah,
like we're doing one in Canada this year where we're doing that exact thing where we have to rent the gear in Canada so we don't have to smuggle it across the border.
No way. Well, whose wedding is that? A hockey player? I know you probably can't say it. I know you signed an NDA for all your weddings.
Yeah, she's famous. I haven't really done it. Do I have any famous wedding? No, I don't know.
You did Cooper Kupp's
the
wedding.
Most famous wedding I ever did.
Well, I'm sorry. He's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. So, yeah, that's a really freaking famous one. Ryan doesn't have anyone that famous he's done a wedding for. He's doing Tyler Johnson's next summer. And Tyler Johnson has Tyler Johnson. He's won some Stanley Cups. And he's a friend of the show.
That's this summer, right?
Yeah. But he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah,
so you still have Cooper Kupp, and that's the best. That's the most famous so far.
Yeah. I'm still kind of wondering who Tyler Johnson hired as a DJ, or maybe he has a band.
They seem like a band. That seems like a band wedding, doesn't it?
Could be. Do
you think there's?
Because I do get a little offended when I don't get hired,
especially by people we know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Come on, Tyler.
The only time I want you to not get hired for a wedding by someone we know is if they want you to be having fun at the wedding. That's the only reason. It's like I don't want you to DJ because I want you to be there mingling.
Yeah, those are better for sure. Yeah, because it's not fun to work. Oh, can't you DJ and have fun? No. That's the joy now is I have a lot of guys that work with me, and that makes it a lot better. Even like the Second Chance Prom, I got a chance to go around and hang out a little bit. One other thing, do you think divorce parties are a hot idea?
Oh, a divorce party. Okay, so Kev, I feel like we're into a world right now that I think. Remember when I said this would be quick? We don't.
Yeah, I knew better. You and I we haven't gotten to do a show for 7 months.
Forever. I'm going to make you record a Patreon. At some point, I'm going to make you. At some point, I need the show to stop. Not like for the sake of the show to stop. I need the show to be done so that you and I can do a 5-hour podcast behind the scenes.
I'm all in. All in.
Like once it's done, I want it to be, many, many years from now. We need to do Jay. I don't know if Jay would ever sign on to do. I don't think he would. But you and I just need to do this is it. This is like, let's go through and talk about the
behind the scenes,
the fun stuff and the bad stuff, right? Because overall, 90% fun. But you're working with people all the time. We had a couple moments where ideas were everyone's favorite, and they're great stories. Anyways, okay, so divorce parties. I like, but I think if you really want to make it happen, you have to have both sides of the divorce at the party. So you can't just have it like, oh, I got divorced and I'm having a party. Like you have to be like, I'm getting divorced, but both people have to be there.
Okay, that's the next level.
Okay,
and they have to be rich.
And they have to be rich.
I'm using all of your rules now. They have to be rich. It has to be divorced, and they both have to be there.
My other rich one would be I want people who got married very young before they were really rich. I want them to have they're rich weddings where now we're rich, like those people who are 20 years later having a party. Now we're rich,
right?
And this is what we would have done when we were 19 and got married. This is what we would have done, and you're just the party.
Yeah.
Second chance wedding. I think a divorce party rules, though, dude. I think a divorce party is the one. What kind of music do you play at a divorce party?
It would be very fun. Man, what do I play at a divorce party? I have not put together. Probably just Cupid Shuffle
and Carrie Underwood.
Oh man, yeah. She has all the good songs.
Her catalog hits hard there. I feel like I want to see from you more DJ parties that you are just creating? Because Second Chance Prom is great, and now I need the next iteration. I need whatever the next thing is in the fall to come out, and I don't know what that is yet, but I would
know.
like it.
I think about it every year that I'm going to do one in the fall, and then the problem is I have to plan it during the summer when all the weddings are happening, and I somehow just let it slip through the cracks. I know that's hard for you to believe.
No, we never did that. Never, ever, ever. So we also had this is the behind the scenes podcast we're not doing now, but we also had a bad part of like, once we were met with a little bit of like we would come up with a great idea. And if anyone around us, like in the building at all, a random salesperson could come by and be like, I don't know if that's a good idea. The second that happened, we stopped. We were like,
yeah, we just,
well,
there was just enough resistance that it wasn't worth the fight. So you were just like, never mind. All right.
Pete Jensen.
We'll play third time's a charm.
Yeah, Pete Jensen would be out in the hallway and he's like, I don't know that you guys should do that. And we're like, oh gosh, dang it, Pete. All right, well, yeah, like you said, third time's a charm. What about this kind of party? What about if you threw a party that's called a reunion party, and it's just like you have to invite friends that you haven't got together with for a while? It's an easy way to go, everyone who's going to be at this party are friends who don't get to see each other a lot, making time to come to this party where everyone's reconnecting.
That's kind of fun. I mean,
that was your nice way of saying what a dumb idea.
No, it is a great idea. I was just, you know me, the first thing I want to do is name it.
Absolutely.
I always want to name something, and so I was just, as you were saying the idea, I'm like, yeah, that's actually kind of fun. But what's the name of it?
Because sometimes you need, like, you want to see, I would love to see my buddy Chris. I'd love to see Chris, but you don't really ever make time. And it's like, well, now we have a thing that's on the calendar. It's got a location, and you can invite Chris and go, we are getting together with the boys.
What if it's like the chain letter thing, where you have to invite 5 people and they have to invite 5 people or their family dies?
Why did that go away?
I don't know.
What a great thing. I love this. You have to invite 5 people or your family dies.
Yeah. I mean, we can maybe back it off a little bit so it's a little sexier to advertise, but that's a good concept. We just call it the chain letter party, and we send out, that's it. You have to invite 5 friends.
Yep.
It's brilliant. I will send you some of the money from the party. I'm trying to think of a good, friends or flu.
So if you don't invite them, then we can actually send someone who's sick with the flu into their house and spread the flu.
An actual virus.
Yeah, an actual virus.
Yeah.
Party.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. All right, Kev, thank you for answering this call. Thank you for spending 5 minutes with me.
You're welcome. Hey, real quick question.
Yeah.
Patreon, how much does that cost? Because you suckered me in the other day. I saw the little tease on Instagram, and it was like, oh, Anna, this is the worst habit I have, or whatever. It was just a great little tease, and then you cut it off, and it was like only available on Patreon.
Yeah, you like that? Kind of real pull the what is it? Pull the rug out move right there. Yeah, it's Kevin, I appreciate all the people who are supporting the show on Patreon. It's $5 a month, $10 a month, or $20 a month if you're a crazy person, and will get you access to all of the long ones, which you're going to come on soon, and we're going to do even without, like, we're not going to do we are eventually going to do the behind the scenes of the Jay and Kevin show. It's going to be you, me, producer Bob. Jay will be invited. Producer Bob will be on for 5 minutes until we make him so mad that he hangs up.
That's true.
and then I think we need to have your new producer Steve on, because I think when he starts to hear the stories, he's going to be like, what the heck was happening?
Yes. Every once in a while I tell Steve a story and he's just like, wow, that is very different than now. And I'm like, yes, it is, Steve. It's very different.
Yeah. You just say, you're welcome. You're welcome that we ironed it out from 2010 to 2020. All right, brother. Kev, I love you. I hope all's well. It's good hearing your voice, man.
Yes, you too, buddy. Love you. See you later.
See you, dude. All right, there he is. The radio's Kevin James. I love that guy. Oh, I love that guy. Okay, there's the answer to what he would put in his house.
Kelly's, what are you into?
Delta, but not the airline, suckers. Okay, let me see exactly what it is called because I was stalling there. Delta Emulator. Do it. Find it. Find it. It's for your phone, and it is the thing that rocketed my world this week. Delta Emulator. It is an app that is now available on iPhone. I'm assuming it's available on Android as well, but it's definitely available on Apple. Hey, Apple. And it's an app that allows you to play ROMs. Have you ever heard of an emulator? If you've never heard of an emulator, it's a very tricky world. So I'm going to dive into this very carefully. But let's say you own, this is at least what I understand. All right. I don't know the legalities. Let's say you owned The Legend of Zelda for Nintendo back in the day. You bought that bad boy back in 1989 and you ran it in that Nintendo of yours until your Nintendo was smoking and dead, until you couldn't blow on the cartridge enough to get it to work. And so you owned the game. Well, now you could legally, I believe this is how it works, you can legally download the ROM because you've paid for this game, you owned this game, and so you can download this ROM and you can play it on this emulator, Delta Emulator. So they have this emulator out that has the virtual keypad on it you can get Nintendo games, Super Nintendo games, Game Boy Advance games, Game Boy Color games. I think you can, I mean, there's a lot of ROMs. I don't know how far into the future of gaming this emulator goes. I don't know if you can play PlayStation games on it, if they work on it, or PS2 games. You're going to start to get into a button situation where you have too many buttons on those consoles to work on a virtual screen, but it works really well with Game Boy games. Obviously, the phone kind of looks like a Game Boy, and it works really well with Nintendo games. And I'm proud to say that I owned every Nintendo and Game Boy game. That's why I have so many ROMs. The Delta app, you need to check it out. Not the airline, Delta Emulator. It is kind of tricky to find the games. I'm trying to remember what site my brother told me to go to. It's something with Vault. If I showed it, if I Googled it, I think it's this one. This is probably illegal. Again, make sure you do this responsibly. Go read the rules on what it takes to download a ROM and what you need to have. VIMM.net/vault. There you go. There's where you can get some ROMs for the games that you owned. Make sure you're on the level with this thing. And I don't know what the level is. So, read all of the instructions and the legalities before you dive in and get yourself in trouble. You know what I'm saying, kids and adults of all ages and sizes? Highly recommended, though. Very cool. And there you go. Okay. Oh, that came with a question. I never really, I owned every single Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance game. What was your favorite of those? What was your favorite Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance game? Here is my thing with this. I'm wondering, I need to look at the research on how this works because what I've been told and what I've learned, what I've absorbed from conversations about emulators is if you've bought the game, then it's fine to run the game on an emulator. That's what I've heard. I don't, again, know how true it is. If that's the case, we need to just start a website immediately where one person owns a copy of every Nintendo game and just sells it for a penny to everyone. And we just pass it around. So I buy it for a penny, sell it to the next person for a penny, and we're all in on buying the game. So we're all on the level. Let's read some comments, shall we? I think we had a couple I think we had one on YouTube. Let's see what we've got here. It says from Roberta. She said, Will Gilman, who we talked about last episode. Will Gilman, love him. He directed Mark and I in No Sex Please, We're British. Hysterical show. I had a history professor at GU who signed off every section by saying, any questions, comments, quibbles, queries, or cantankerous remarks? Laugh every time. Thank you, Roberta, for letting me know that plays are filthy. And Deborah said this, loved listening to the Mark Furman show. Deborah, I love that you love listening to Mark Furman. I'm telling you, he was an extremely intimidating man. I hope he's not related to you. Oh no, I think my phone's ringing. It's probably going to cut the video out. Hang on. Golly. All right, I means I got to wrap the podcast. I don't know who that's going to be. Thank you for tuning in.